Russian intelligence has begun to recruit Polish citizens to engage in activities aimed at influencing the upcoming elections in Poland. That's according to Krzysztof Gawkowski, Poland's Minister of Digitization and Deputy Prime Minister. Gawkowski emphasized that even a small relationship with foreign intelligence is espionage, which is a crime, of course. To discuss this, I have Dariusz Standerski, State Secretary, Ministry of Digital Affairs, joining me right now. Good evening, sir. Delighted to have you with us.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
So let me start with getting a lay of the land, because we've heard about Russian sabotage from Donald Tusk and other prominent politicians, but what actually does it entail?
Yeah, Deputy Prime Minister lately announced that the new informal groups is recruited from the people with some background of the Russian intelligence unit, and our Polish special services detected it. And we get to know that this group is recruiting from different types of citizens, including Polish citizens. That's unfortunate, and this is known by now, and the message for this group is clear. Our special services will get them know quite quickly and quite precisely, and no action like that is valuable for them, and no price is high enough for the years spent in jail for that.
But what kind of activities are these people supposed to conduct?
Many groups aiming to interference Polish electoral campaign are using different types of interfering, including especially disinformation, because what groups from other countries do not have is the Polish context, the Polish culture, and especially Polish language, because as we see the attempts to disinform our current cybersphere, we see that very often it's not precisely in Polish grammar or in Polish context. That's why they need so desperately people with this Polish background.
Okay, but then they would not say things that are openly pro-Russian, right? From what I've heard, they could say things that are anti-EU, anti-NATO. What kinds of hints shall we expect to be able to identify that disinformation in the digital sphere?
Of course, because their main aim is not to favor any country or even any presidential candidate. Their main target is to put chaos in our political discussion. That's why they will use some arguments which are put it in the way that intend to divide us, that intend to make a chaotic discussion within our infosphere in the internet, but this internet discussions also influence our daily contacts. That's why the main aim is to start chaotic discussion within our electoral campaign.
All right, the Commission for the Study of Russian and Belarusian Influence, which is the special body that has been created, recently published some of its findings, and they're saying that countering disinformation threats emanating from Russia and Belarus was insufficient, ad hoc, and inconsistent thus far. So what is the current government attempting to introduce to actually change that?
The Polish government is currently developing the secure election plan, and we already started the new campaign called bezpiecznewybory.pl. It's safe elections, and every Polish citizen can go to this website and put what they think is disinformation in the internet. And our experts from our computer network, but as well as our special services will analyze every information which consists possible disinformation. That's why it's so important to be aware, and we will also announce the plan to protect electoral campaign this month, including actions from our national computer network, but also from our special forces and our special services. This will be a coherent plan to protect our citizens and to protect our candidates, because candidates in this election could be victims of this disinformation campaign. That's why we need to protect them as well.
So do you think, are we expecting any smear campaigns against certain candidates or against all of them? Who is the most prone?
Of course, we already observed the campaigns, including deepfakes with political candidates since the election of October 2023. And since October 2023 in Poland, every election is unfortunately full of deepfakes where politicians are playing the front role. That's why, unfortunately, we expect that during this election or other candidates or disinformation groups will use those deepfakes. That's why we are also developing at our ministry a tool to detect deepfake. And that's why it's so important to take our information not from one source, not from source which is not familiar to us. That's why it's so important to be aware for all of citizens.
Right, but I'm sure that Poland is not the only country that is a target of Russian illicit activities. What about other countries? I mean, how does Poland compare to, let's say, Finland, Latvia, Lithuania, other countries that are within the Russian sphere of influence?
We all were talking about the Romanian election incident, and we, of course, analyzed this example. And to compare Polish and Romanian elections, we can conclude that, fortunately for us, we are prepared better for such actions, for such attempts of interference, because we already know what to expect. Unfortunately, many services and many forces in Romania was not expecting at all what could happen and what algorithm can do with the electoral campaign. We are aware of that, but we know that there is always a room to develop it, and that's why we already work on the protection for the upcoming elections, which will be even harder to protect because of developing technology, which not always is good for the discussion.
Right, and of course we've been concentrating on the digital sphere, but I just wanted to touch on the other forms of Russian sabotage. I mean, we've heard of these explosive packages. Of course, this did not happen, right? But there was a likelihood of it happening on some of the planes, right? Poland was a target, and other acts of sabotage. So what else shall we be on a lookout for?
Fortunately, again, Polish military forces and Polish civilian sector is working closely together, and every week there is a meeting of many ministers with Deputy Prime Minister Kosiniak-Kamysz in terms of this military sector and plans how to protect our critical infrastructure. And both Prime Minister Donald Tusk and Deputy Prime Minister Krzysztof Gawkowski are in daily touch to merge those two perspectives. Real one, the critical infrastructure, and the cyber sphere. The key is to cooperate, and especially during Polish presidency, we are the good example how different sectors of our security can cooperate, and we want to develop this cooperation.
Right, it is all very unsettling, but I'm glad to hear that the government is aware of what's happening and that some steps are being taken to protect us, right? I mean, as citizens. Dariusz Standerski, Ministry of Digital Affairs, thank you, sir, so much for being with us this evening.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching World News Tonight. Please stay tuned for more here on TVP World.